After taking both games of a doubleheader yesterday against Loyola, Marymount, and Davidson, number 16 Wake Forest has won 9 straight, and it looks to stay hot today at David F. Couch Ballpark in the second game against the Lions. Welcome into the broadcast booth, everyone. Jordan Weintraub here alongside Jim Kerner. And Jim, a very successful Friday for the Demon Deacons, but they're looking to keep it rolling against LMU. But the starting pitching was the key for yesterday's 2 wins.
Yeah, absolutely, Jonah. I don't think you can say enough about what Blake Morningstar and Duncan Marston did yesterday. 12 combined innings, only 3 walks, 19 strikeouts, but 0 runs given up. It doesn't get much better than that.
The offense wasn't too shabby either. 19 runs across 2 games, and leading the charge for the offense was Dalton Wentz, the infielder. Really did a little bit of everything.
You know, over the last 6 games, Dalton Wentz has really started heating up. And what stood out to me yesterday was the clutch 2-out hitting. He had two-out RBI hits that really set the tone for the offense.
And Dalton Wentz on the weekend with 4 RBI, 4 of 8 at the plate, leading the charge for the Demon Deacons. And on the mound for Wake Forest this afternoon, is going to be Chris Lavonis. And boy, we are in for a treat. Lavonis, the sophomore out of New Jersey, former second-round draft pick out of high school, and one of the most talented arms maybe in all of the country.
Yeah, Chris Lavonis is quickly becoming one of my favorite starting pitchers in college baseball. It's electric stuff. We'll see a fastball, 97 to 100 today, with 3 to 4 really quality secondary pitches and a whole lot of swing and miss.
Lavonis hit 100 against Siena last week, and you can see the starting lineup now for the Lions, led by Jackson Wall, who will try to crack Lavonis and this Wake Forest defense. And we're ready to go here from the couch. Lavonis winds up for the first pitch. And it's a swing and a miss, and we're underway.
Jackson Wall here, he's really the catalyst for this offense. He had a huge first game, 4 for 5. I think he was a triple shy of the cycle this morning.
He was 4 of 5, a home run and 2 runs driven in, and an 11-1 victory over Davidson. Wall punches this one up the middle, handled that short by Schaff. The throw across, a little bit low, but it'll get the job done, and that's 1 away quickly for Lavonis and the Deeks.
That's a really efficient start for Lavonis. You know, the key, just like we saw yesterday with the starting pitching with Morningstar and Marston, they got ahead, and they were super efficient with their pitch counts, and that allowed them to have extension in the start. Morningstar going 7 innings, Marston first college start goes 5, and that just sets up Wake for hopefully a successful weekend here, saving their bullpen.
Alex Gamboa now up, the 2-hole hitter, and he immediately takes a swing at Lavonis. It looks like they're attacking early against the righty as he gets 100 on that pitch, already coming out the gates with that fire.
Well, when you're throwing 100, you better be ready to swing. You can't be taking pitches, and when they get those pitches, they better take advantage and square them up if they can catch up.
The righty on lefty matchup. That one's outside. Lavonis, not only just great stuff, but really a huge jump from his freshman and sophomore year already in terms of the production. The ERA already just at about 1 on the season. He's been dynamite to begin through his first 2 starts.
I couldn't agree more.
That one right down the middle. Count moves to 1-2 on Gamboa, the freshman out of Queen Creek, Arizona. Batting just 174 on the season is Gamboa. As there's a swing and a miss. Lavonis picks up his first K of the day, and Wake with 2 out on the board quickly.
Well, this is the second start I've seen from Lavonis, and that is the first 101 that I have seen. So as the weather heats up, it seems like so does Lavonis here.
Mentioned it that he hit 100.5 against Siena earlier in the week, but that would make it the fastest pitch in college baseball this season for Lavonis, as now he steps up to take the 3-hole hitter, DJ Giorso. And another first pitch swing and a miss. Cruising so far is the sophomore on the bump.
Yeah, we've seen fastball, we've seen slider, we've seen a 2-seam fastball, and also that cutter slider action there.
Contact made in the infield. It looks like Schaff is going to call for it. In the sun, stumbles and makes the catch, but that's a quick 1-2-3 inning for the Demon Deacons, as now the offense gets ready to step up here in the bottom of the first. Colorado's brings Colorado for Loyola Marymount after a very quick inning for Chris Lavonis and the Wake Forest defense. Johnson on the season has been the best pitcher so far, arguably, for the Lions.
Yeah, he's been their anchor, and he's gone 10 plus innings this year. He has a win in his two starts, and you know, it looks like he's really efficient. Throws strikes, keeps the ball in play, doesn't walk a lot of guys, and you know, that's the recipe for success.
Got a great name as well.
You like that name, Joe?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. So now that brings us to the Wake Forest lineup. Very familiar faces all throughout. Javar Williams, Cade Lewis, and Dalton Wentz going 1, 2, 3 in the order. Yet again, they've started every single game this season, as has Matt Conti, the cleanup hitter, and all four of those players have double-digit hits on the season early on. As here comes Javar Williams. So far on the weekend, 3 of 8, double, 2 runs. That double coming against Davidson last night. And the first inning has been big for Wake as of late. Yeah,
they have. They've done a great job in the first inning. And Javar Williams last night against Davidson, I thought he was on the ball all game, scoring up, 3 or 4 balls. He didn't get a ton of production hit-wise, even though he had the double, but he was on the baseball and had a tremendous approach at the plate.
Williams steps into the left-handed batter's box. On the season, hitting .325 with that 13 of 40 at the plate, a pair of doubles. 4 runs driven in for the leadoff man. And he takes a big hack at Johnson's first pitch of the afternoon, but sails it right back towards us here in the broadcast booth. Starts off 0-1, a lot of early swings for both sides.
I think it's impressive about the Wake lineup. If you look up and down, they do so well managing the strike zone. They try to limit strikeouts, but 8 out of the 9 hitters have more walks than strikeouts this year.
Walks have been a key for this Wake offense, among the leaders in the country in walks and walks per game. That's a pitch taken right down the middle there. So quickly 0-2 on Williams.
And this is what they do such a good job of. They shorten up on the bat. You can see Javar choking up right here, and they really compete with 2 strikes, and he's way up on the knob.
Here comes the 0-2 from Johnson. And there's that competition you're talking about. Williams fouls it off to stay alive. And 2-strike hitting was really paramount yesterday for the Deeks as well. Great job with 2 on the board.
Yeah, it was a part of the season that they kind of struggled with number-wise, and yesterday they really came through in some clutch situations.
Williams lines this one, picked up by the shortstop wall. Throw across the diamond is there in time. So it's a ground out to start off the afternoon for the Wake offense and Javar Williams, but competitive at-bat after falling behind 0-2.
Yeah, it's great at-bat. He did a great job, barreled it up there, really shortened up, and I don't think you can overstate how the buy-in that these hitters have, because in today's day and age, when home runs are the craze, and all through professional baseball, to get your lineup, the willingness to choke up on the bat like that, and compete, that's impressive.
Willing to play with the long ball or the small ball are the Deeks. And speaking of the long ball, Cade Lewis up to bat. Watches that first pitch go in for a strike. Lewis, not the power numbers to start the season that we're accustomed to with him, but still 10 of 40 at the plate, has 1 home run and has driven in 7 along the way.
He's going to be a big part of this offense. We're still in the early part of the season, and he's been having quality at bats, and the success will come.
There's another strike, and for Johnson, he's really pounding the zone early in this one, begging and really challenging these Wake batters to take swings.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes him successful. He's forcing contact. He's not a huge strikeout guy, but he's going to limit the free bases and trust his defense.
11 strikeouts for Johnson over 10 innings of work this season. As he gets a foul ball out of Lewis there, but getting ahead of the count, especially after yesterday's game where Wake Forest really asserted itself early with 5 runs in the first inning. You can tell that the approach for Johnson is a bit different than it was yesterday for LMU. That one's tipped, and fortunately for the Deeks, Jake Lyle, the catcher for LMU, dropped that one, couldn't hold on for the foul tip. So it'll be another 0-2 opportunity for Cade Lewis. And
you can see Lewis, too, choking up on the bat a little bit, and, making sure, You know, not striking out is important to this Wake Forest coaching staff.
Nice take there by Lewis. And yeah, you mentioned it, putting the ball in play, at least challenging these defenses. Saw that in the first game between Davidson and Loyola Marymount. Both sides were having a little bit of trouble on the infield. It's a sunny day out here, different than yesterday where it's a bit more gloomy. Challenge those infielders.
Yeah, got a little wind blowing out here this morning. Yesterday was a little different.
I mean, it's a beautiful day regardless, as Lewis flares this one up into left field, but it looks like it's playable for left fielder Gamboa, and that will put away the second batter of the game for the Demon Deacons.
Yeah, so far, both pitchers have done a great job of throwing strike one. You know, of the combined 5 hitters so far, both guys have gotten ahead on every batter, which sets up everything else in that at-bat so much more efficiently.
So here comes our player to watch, Dalton Wentz. He's been the hot hand this weekend so far for the Demon Deacons. 4 of 8 at the plate over those 2 games yesterday with 4 runs driven in, and really timely runs driven in at that.
Yeah, the 2-out RBIs like we talked about. If you can get 2-out RBIs, that's such a backbreaker for the defense.
And there it is, the first time that we didn't see a first pitch strike this afternoon. It took 6 batters to get there. And that one pretty close to the strike zone at that still. Johnson right back inside the zone after that one, so it's 1-1 now.
Yeah, showing confidence in the breaking ball. These even counts are so important. Pitching coaches harp on these counts all the time. Your 0-0, 1-1, 2-2 counts, trying to flip the at-bat here a little bit.
Let's see what Johnson can do. And that one is hammered deep right field, and that one is gone. Off the scoreboard for Dalton Wentz, and his strong weekend continues with a solo home run here in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, he was right on that pitch. It was elevated in the zone. He did a great job staying inside it, drove it in the gap, and that ball was way out of here.
That's 4 big flies on the season for the sophomore. Make it 15 runs driven in, and chose a good time to do so as he puts Wake on the board early. Wentz just got every piece of that baseball, and you could tell that one an absolute no-doubter. Look at the launch on this one.
Yeah, Johnson made the mistake of elevating that pitch, and he made no mistake on it.
So Wake again striking early in the first inning. That was the tale yesterday. 5 runs against LMU in the first inning yesterday. And that brings up Matt Conti to the plate. Now their sophomore holds off on that one, and it's a good take up high.
You talk about approaches. Conti might be one of the toughest guys in this lineup to strike out with 12 walks and only 5 strikeouts. That's a pretty impressive reverse strikeout to walk ratio.
That one nearly clipped Conti, ducks out of the way, but is ahead 2-0 for the first time today after giving up that leadoff that solo home run. Johnson behind in the count. Let's see how he responds. Nice 2-0 pitch right down the middle.
That's a good take for Conti. You know, it wasn't what he was looking for. You don't have to be super aggressive just because it's a 2-0 count. You know, he's a mature, experienced hitter, and he's looking for something better in that situation.
After starting 24 games as a freshman, has started every game so far this season in his sophomore campaign as he drills that one into left field. Is he going to try to turn for 2? Yes, he is. Conti chugging over to second, and he'll get there. A 2-out double for the sophomore, and Wake Forest with back-to-back extra base hits to get itself going here early in the ball game.
Now here's the difference right there. So he's in a 2-0 count. He takes the one breaking ball in the outside corner for strike 1. Wasn't what he was looking for. He gets another breaking ball in the 2-1 count that's right over the middle. He's on time for it and able to drive it for a double. That's really advanced hitting right there. Great approach by Conti.
And what looked like it could have been a quick inning for the Demon Deacons. Offense has turned into a bit of not a rally yet here, but runner in second. Jackson Miller up at the plate. Opportunity to keep on piling here. As that one is chopped over to third. Wall gets past him, and Conti's going to rumble home. That'll go as an error on the shortstop and give Wake Forest an early 2-0 lead.
Yeah, even if he comes up with that ball, I think that's a tough play at first base. It was hit fairly hard. He probably could have made the play and prevented the run from scoring. It went underneath the glove, but still, it was a good swing and pretty well struck baseball.
Wall had it in his track, but it just kind of took an odd hop and skipped right through his glove right there. A crucial error with 2 outs, and more importantly, it brings home that extra run.
Yeah, he needs to keep that ball in the infield. You know, regardless of an error or getting him out, he keeps it in the infield, the run doesn't score, and it gives your defense a chance.
So that brings up Jimmy Keenan, who's also had a great start to the weekend. He's 3 of 6 over those 2 games with 2 runs driven in last night against Davidson. And that game against the Wildcats, it was a 7-1 final, but a little bit closer than that score indicates.
Yeah, both starting pitchers were really good last night. Davidson, starting pitcher, a solid 5 innings, ran out of gas a little bit in the 6th, but was really impressive early in that game.
Keenan with a nice take on the inside. Wake with the early advantage, and Jackson Miller over on first base. Big hack goes back against the netting. Count falls to 1-2 for Keenan. Another chance here for the Lions to get out of this inning, and damage has already been done, but trying to avoid any further damage here.
Yeah, Keenan's another hitter in this lineup with just a tremendous approach. You got to point to the .488 on base percentage. You know, regardless of the batting average, he's getting on base at a really high clip.
Great take by Keenan as that count now evens at 2, and Keenan 7 of 28 on the season so far, but does have 9 runs driven in, and as you were touching on, another perfect, or I guess inverted strikeout to walk ratio, 10 walks and 7 strikeouts. That one swung on and missed. So that ends the bottom of the first, but it's a big home run from Dalton Wentz. Wake Forest leads 2-0 through 1 inning here at the Couch. Fergus, 3rd season with LMU. See their previous stops with the Minnesota Twins. He's really been on the West Coast collegiately for the vast majority of his career, leading Loyola Marymount for the 3rd season, and his team down 2-0 early here at the Couch, trying to get back into this one after allowing 2 runs in the bottom of the first. First pitch, swing and a miss. That one also touches high 90s for Livonis, and it's the 4-hole hitter, Zion Williams. Went 0 of 2 with 2 walks and 2 strikeouts against Wake Forest yesterday.
You see these hitters have to be aggressive. You're seeing 99 to 101. You better come out swinging.
And that one only at 87.
That's a slider. That's a really good little slider breaking ball pitch right there. When you can locate that, it makes it really tough to hit.
0-2 on Williams. Livonis winds up. Did he go? No, he didn't. Call made by Ben Phillips at first base. Gives us a chance to introduce the rest of the crew. Thomas Newsom calling the balls and strikes. Joseph Blumenauer at third base, and Dennis Mishaw Jr. over at second, the 4-man crew for this afternoon's game. 1-2 the count. And Livonis fans Williams for his 2nd strikeout of the afternoon. That one 88 miles per hour, but another one of those nice off-speed pitches for the sophomore.
You know, it just shows you how much command he has. He's thrown 3 different types of breaking balls with command here. You know, he threw one for the strike, and then he tried to expand to get the swing and miss, and you know, the hitter did a great job laying off it. And then he threw a little bit better one, and he was right over the top for strike 3.
That one just off the plate. I believe that's the first time Livonis hasn't started with the strike.
That is correct, yeah. He's been ahead all day.
Taking on Zach Wattis, junior out of Chandler, Arizona, and that's a big swing and a miss. Quickly 0-2, or 1-1 rather, on Wattis, the junior. who had a whale of a game earlier today against Davidson. Watt is 2 of 3 with 2 home runs, 4 runs driven in against the Wildcats. But he swings and misses on that one, and back-to-back whiffs puts him down in the count after that first pitch ball.
This makes it so tough on a hitter. You have to respect the fastball. Anytime somebody's throwing 100, you have to respect that, but the secondary stuff is so good.
There's another one, back-to-back Ks for Chris Lavonis, and now he has 3 of them through 5 batters.
And so far, he's shown elite command of everything. You know, he's purposely leaving the strike zone with sliders, but he's commanding the breaking ball as well. And obviously, the fastball is what it is. It's swing and miss in and of itself.
And we haven't even really seen the curveball yet. The curveball, 3,000 RPM rotations per minute, as tracked earlier in the year, and it goes 12-6 in a hurry.
3,000 is elite.
And there's a swing and a miss on a 99-mile-per-hour fastball, low below the zone. Noah Malone up to bat for the Lions with 2 down on punch-outs. Malone just 2 of 20 on the season. It looks like he went around there, but no go. So it's 1-1. That was really close.
Yeah, it was close. Yeah, it looked like he swung to me. That was another looked like a little slider cutter.
That one freezes Malone. It's 89 right down the middle, and Lavonis with less than 20 pitches as we're approaching a potential 6th out. Trying to strike out the side here, 1-2. Chasing out of the zone, and that's 3 Ks in the inning for Chris Lavonis. Makes quick work of the Lions as we step to the bottom of the 2nd here from the couch. Tom Walter, 2023 ACC Coach of the Year, and his squad up 2-0 early here at the couch over LMU, and he's got to be happy with what he's seeing.
Well, right now, I know he's excited to get Andrew Costello back in the lineup. You know, Costello was showing signs of life against High Point, had a big midweek game and came up with a knee injury, but he's back today.
So here is Costello, just 12 at-bats on the season. Good take, up high, and it was a Jekyll and Hyde first inning for Jonah Johnson on the bump. Got 2 quick outs, but then the floodgates kind of open for Wake down the stretch, starting with that Dalton Wentz solo shot.
We get one Costello back, and the other Costello's out yesterday. Unfortunately, got hit in the hand with a pitch yesterday in the first game of the doubleheader, and they got Andrew back today.
So 2-1 on Costello. And he makes good contact with this one into left field, being chased down, and it's going to drop for a base hit. That one hung up for a bit, but not enough for the center fielder friend to get there, and it's a leadoff single for Costello.
Yeah, I'd be a little concerned with the way Andrew Costello got down the line right there. He was hobbling, and it did not look comfortable.
And it looks like some of the Wake coaching staff is actually going to step onto the field. So Costello being met at first base after you mentioned it, Jim, kind of gingerly trotting over there. Get a second look at the range of motion for Costello, and right out of the batter's box.
Yeah, it looked like that little bit of a trip might have triggered something in that, injured knee he had, and you got to hope he's okay. For a freshman, he's had a tough start with these, with this injury, and comes back today. Hate to see him have to come back out of the lineup again. Seems like he's fighting to stay in.
He's trying to move up and down the line a little bit, test out the legs, and looks like his appeal is going to work. He's staying in there for the time being.
See how this progresses here. Looks like he's moving pretty well. It's a long season. You got a borderline on the competitiveness of a kid, and he wants to stay in there. And then as a coach, you got to weigh it. This is someone that we're going to need down the stretch and throughout the year, and how much leeway do we actually want to give him?
So Costello will stay in the game. He's over at first, bringing up Blake Schaff. Schaff batting 8th today, 5 of 25 on the season. Now it looks like Joseph Blumenauer at third base is getting something across to the field of play, and will resume. Another first pitch strike for Johnson. More often than not, that's been the case for him today.
I think it's something that should be noted. Schaff is the first shortstop other than J.D. Stein this year, I believe. They take the freshman out of the lineup and give Blake a chance to play short.
Chops that one foul. So 0-2 on Schaff, who, as mentioned, just 200 batting average on the season so far, but came up pretty big yesterday when Austin Hawk went down with an injury. It was Schaff who came in and hit a pinch hit double against Loyola Marymount. Had 2 walks as well against the Lions. As he tips this one, it's going to be ruled a foul ball by home plate umpire Thomas Newsom.
It's interesting how LMU is holding on Costello at first base. Probably some of it due to the fact that he might be a little injured, but it's definitely not a traditional, situation as far as holding a runner. And with the left-hand hitter up, it gives your defense, your first baseman a little bit more range.
Schaff hits this one down the first base line, and that's going to be an easy turn of 2. Costello, with the limited motion, couldn't hustle over to second in time, and so that's a twin killer right there, and base is clear for Jonah Johnson.
Yeah, and it was a nice job by the first baseman. He used that range, actually playing back there, and was able to come up, get the 2-hopper, and touch the bag, and make the good throw to shortstop for the tag play.
Nice play at first by Zach Wattis. And with the way that Wake can put up crooked numbers in a single inning, it's good for the Lions right there to clear the bases when it could have at least been one in scoring position or at least one more on.
It's good to see Hawk back in the lineup today. He had to come out yesterday, sliding into second base. He came up a little gingerly. Might have been a knee or a hamstring, and it's good that he's healthy and ready to go today.
Hawk skies this one up on the infield. Looks like it's playable. And in the sun, the catch made by Jackson Wall, the shortstop, tracking back to end the second inning. No more runs for Wake. It's 2-0 after 2. For the Demon Deacons, cruising so far today, but yesterday's starting pitchers, you can see Duncan Marston and Blake Morningstar absolutely diced up Davidson and LMU.
There's so many impressive things looking at that stat line. Number one is the 0 earned runs given up, and then you look at the strikeouts, and just as importantly, only 3 free bases between the 2 of them.
And speaking of great starting pitching, Chris Lavonis has been carrying the torch today through 2 innings, 4 strikeouts, and you can see at the bottom right there the most important stat, only 20 total pitches to put away the first 6 Lions as he steps back up on the bump to face the bottom 3 of the order, starting with Andrew Moon, a freshman out of Salem, Oregon.
When you have a strikeout pitcher, usually you see higher pitch counts, and it just goes to show how efficient he is and how well he's commanding, all of his pitches, to be at 21 pitches right now with 4 punch outs in 2 innings.
He's made quick work of the Lions so far, but for the first time today falls behind 2-0. Moon, the freshman, up to bat. Went 0 of 3 yesterday against the Demon Deacons. Did get hit by 1 pitch, so wasn't completely held off the base path. And there's a swing and a miss. That's what we saw through the first 2 innings for Lavonis, and gets himself back in the count in a big way.
Yeah, when you fall behind 2-0 and you're able to rely on 99 to get you back in the count, that's pretty good.
Contact made, not a strikeout, being tracked down by Lewis in foul territory, and the play is made. So it's not a strikeout, but it'll get the job done. Cade Lewis gets the put out in foul territory and gets the first one out on the board.
Yeah, fell behind 2-0, but did a really good job composing himself, got back into the count with 2 fastballs. And, 4-pitch at bat, that's still, some really good efficiency. Now, of course, you want to work ahead, but he did a good job of staying composed and getting back into the count.
So that sends up another underclassman for LMU, Jake Lyle, the catcher. Tough start to the season, just 3 of 20 at the plate. Takes that one high.
Might have been a first pitch changeup there that got away from him.
We've been talking about it. Lavonis, probably more than just the 4-pitch mix with the way that his pitches move as he gets a swing and a miss there to even the count. But the fastball, obviously the feature pitch in his arsenal, but he's got a slider, a curveball, and a changeup as well, as we were talking. Some of those just kind of morph into whatever pitch it turns out to be. That's one of those off-speed.
Yeah, and his slider, has different shapes to it. You have one that's a little bit shorter that could be a little bit of a cutter, and then you have the bigger sweeper, and then more of your traditional slider too. So he has 3 different pitches off of really just the slider.
The 1-2 for Lavonis. That one gets away from him. It was 100 miles per hour, but not really anywhere competitive on that one. Looks like he was just trying to go purely for the velocity there and lost a little bit of the control.
Yeah, that one doesn't count. What's the adage? Nobody cares how hard you throw ball 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though that wasn't ball 4.
We'll just wipe that one from the files. And there it is, a swing and a miss, tag applied. Oh no, it's going to be a close call at first. And Cade Lewis can't hold on. So runner advances as the drop strike 3, mishandled by the catcher Keenan, and first base runner of the day for the Lions. And can't really fault Lavonis for that one.
No, I think Keenan he thought he tagged him on that play and ended up.
So now bottom of the order up for the Lions, Travis Friend. First pitch swinging, skies it high towards center field. Javar Williams basically just stays in place for out number 2. So 2 down here in the top of the 3rd, brings back up the top of the order, and with a 1 run around for the first time all day, this probably a good time for the Lions offense to try to wake up a second look at Lavonis now.
Yeah, see if the approach changes now that you're second time through the lineup. I would imagine Lavonis is still going to pretty much stay with his game plan, trying to get ahead early with fastballs. He'll mix in the slider as a get-me-over too from time to time, but fastball dominant so far.
Wall grounded out in his first at-bat. Holds off on the first pitch. This has been the longest inning so far for Lavonis, which isn't really saying much. That one, a check swing, and it gets past Keenan. Another error by the catcher, and it looks like the runner's going to go for 2. That one over the head of Wentz at 3rd, but a nice play made by the left fielder Miller to keep that one in front of him in the outfield and limit the damage to just 2 stolen bases.
People, don't give these catchers enough credit sometimes. That's what Keenan's doing. It's really difficult. He's catching a guy throwing up to 101 with 3 to 4 multiple secondary pitches, and you gotta know exactly which way everyone moves, how it breaks, how to react, and it is not an easy job.
Contact made. It's flipped foul. Is it going to stay fair? No, it's not. It's out of play. So Jackson Wall fighting in this at bat. Suddenly the Lions have a runner in scoring position.
What's hard about catching too, you only stand out when something bad happens. Nobody really notices what a great job you do of receiving 100 and 90-mile-an-hour sliders. But if you miss one, everybody's, hey, what happened there?
And they're going to call that a swing and a miss and then a drop third strike tag. So the catcher Keenan amends for that previous mistake as we head to the bottom of the third. Still 2-0 Wake Forest on top. Across the ACC, and you can see some of the highlights from the past week, and really specifically yesterday in the ACC. Jake Radel for Notre Dame, the highlight there. 6 perfect innings last weekend against Alabama A&M. First 15 versus A&M, and Notre Dame cruises against the Aggies, but 38 straight batters retired for the Notre Dame ace. That's the highlight of the weekend so far in the ACC. Some other important notes to look at. Georgia Tech, 147 runs in 10 games this season after thumping Northwestern. A couple of the West Coast teams, Stanford and Cal, get walk-offs yesterday against some in-state rivals, and Clemson and Miami fall to in-state rivals as well. Florida took down Miami in a ranked matchup. Meanwhile, South Carolina bounced back from that loss against Queens earlier in the week to take down Clemson. Back here at the couch, it's 2-0 Wake Forest, looking to finish its weekend, or start its weekend 3-0. Still have a game tomorrow against Davidson. That's the first pitch, strike for Johnson. Top of the order once again. Javar Williams in the batter's box here to start the third.
He's liable to bunt at any time. He's done it multiple times now this year. Doesn't matter the count, the outs. If he sees an opportunity, he'll take advantage of it.
Williams takes inside, and a good one at that, but you mentioned it. Williams, really the fastest player on this Wake team, and stats go to show it. 11 of the 22 stolen bases on the season for the Demon Deacons. Saw some defensive plays, him tracking it down in center field. Now with a 1-1 count here. Pounds that one foul towards the LMU dugout.
Now we'll see what he does so well. He's going to shorten up on the bat. He did a great job yesterday of using the opposite field. He did it in his first at-bat, hard contact to short. Just a tremendous competitor.
Williams grounded out to start off the game for the Deeks. Watches the count even at 2 as that one falls below his knees. Williams with a 450 OBP to start off the season, including 13 of 41 at the plate. Just gets enough of that one to foul it back to the netting. Keeps the count at 2.
Good swing right there. Just missed that fastball.
And this is what we were talking about, Jim. It's just so hard to put away the Demon Deacons at the plate.
Yeah, and that's a mentality. It really is. It's team buy-in. It's something that they preach and practice, and you can see how it carries over to the game.
Another great take by Williams, and the count runs full.
This is the guy you want to keep off the bases if you're LMU. He's a threat to run at any time. His speed is obviously evident with the stolen bases.
Payoff pitch from Johnson. Hammered into right field. That one off the wall. Is that going to be ruled a home run? No. So it was right off the top of the wall. Will still go down as an extra base hit. A double for Javar Williams, his third of the season. And what a start to the third inning for the Deeks. And what an at-bat.
Tremendous at-bat. He was down in the count again, like we talked about. He fought off a couple pitches like he did the first at-bat, and how he's done it all year. And he found a mistake and hammered it right off the yellow line out there in right field. I don't think you can come any closer than what he just did.
Second look right there in slow motion is just below the yellow line. Ricocheted off, and for the Lions' sake, the way that bounced, pretty fortunate that it was just a double.
He needed a little bigger breakfast. One more Egg McMuffin, and that ball's out of here.
We'll see if Cade Lewis can bring him home. As that one is cranked into left field, being tracked down on the warning track. And that one's out of here. If at first you don't succeed, try again. As that's a home run for Cade Lewis to bring home Javar Williams off the leadoff double. And he doubles up the lead 4-0 Demon Deacons.
Yeah, he was ready for that fastball. He was all over that pitch, stayed inside it, and showing some real opposite field power right there.
That one just carried and carried and carried all the way to the left center. Uppercut swing from Lewis to get all of that baseball, and looked like it was going to maybe die, but just kept on going, and it gets over the yellow line this time.
That's a great sign for Wake Forest. They can get Cade Lewis going. This offense is going to be pretty potent.
So a 4-0 lead, and here's Dalton Wentz, who already has a home run today. Makes contact with this one right up the middle, and it drops on the Wake Forest logo. One pitch, one swing, one single, and Dalton Wentz is now 2 of 2 on the afternoon.
He tried to sneak a little breaking ball over for strike one, and Dalton Wentz was ready for it. Just kind of hung it over the middle of the plate and did a great job of taking it back through the middle.
Jonah Johnson, over his first 3 games of the season, nearly 11 innings of work, only 2 earned runs, already with double that today, and we're not even through 3. Deeks look to keep piling on here with Matt Conti. Conti doubled his first time around. Watches that one sail past the zone for ball number 1.
This lineup makes you work, this Wake Forest lineup. And if they get mistakes, they hit them, and they hit them hard. You know, they don't expand the zone much. They don't strike out a lot. You know, the approach from top to bottom is locked in.
Conti drills this one into right field, but it's going to hang up for Malone. He makes the grab, and finally an out on the board after 3 straight hits to start off the bottom of the 3rd for the Deeks. So with 1 runner on, 1 out, Jackson Miller steps back up to the plate. He reached on an error last time. That was the crucial error by Jackson Wall over at shortstop. Miller lines this one right into the glove of the 3rd baseman, Giorso. No play over at first, but a fine play on the hot corner by number 18.
Yeah, they've been all over first pitch breaking ball this inning. That was another one. That was a little better pitch. It was down in the zone, but he was right on it.
So after the double, home run, and single back-to-back, fly out and line out for the Demon Deacons offense. Jimmy Keenan trying to keep the inning alive. Takes that one low at the ankles, ball number 1. Keenan chops this one over to 3rd. Giorso handles on the run. Throw is made. And that will do it for the 3rd. Cade Lewis adds on 2 runs with a deep shot to left field as Wake Forest doubles its lead 4-0 here through 3 innings. On Loyola Marymount, its 2nd game of the weekend against the Lions. Won 12-2 by run rule yesterday, and so far today, pretty similar results for the Demon Deacons. Jonah Weintraub along with Jim Kerner here at the couch. As through 3 innings, Wake Forest out in front big time thanks to a pair of home runs and this guy on the bump, Chris Lavonis.
Yeah, Wake Forest offense is really taking advantage of some mistakes today on the mound and done a really good job with their at-bats and competing with 2 strikes again.
There's one of those breaking balls for Lavonis, and to be able to go from 79 miles per hour to over 100 is just a luxury that very few college pitchers on any given year have, but Lavonis, one of the few. And he goes right back to the heat at 97.
Yeah, what's important for these LMU hitters, you can't guess against a guy like Lavonis. You have to respect the fastball, or if you don't, you're not gonna have a chance at it because it's 100 miles an hour. So you stay on fastball, and hopefully he makes a mistake over the middle of the plate with the off speed.
You have to think all these Lions are just sitting fastball throughout, but regardless of how susceptible he may be to those off speed, the fastball is, the bread and butter, and it's what keeps the engine churning for Lavonis. That one. First backwards K of the day for Lavonis. 7th punch out overall, and he continues his strong start to the afternoon, putting away Alex Gamboa here in the top of the 4th.
And Jonah, like you were talking about earlier, it's not a flat fastball. It's got something like 20 plus inches of induced vertical break, which means it stays up, and it's really hard to get on top of that pitch, even if you're on time.
So Giorso didn't strike out his first time up. He actually flew out. So pop to third. But he steps back up in the batter's box. 1 down, no on. And that one is that nasty 12-6. You can see Giorso just buckle the knees a bit there. What do you even do with that?
Step out of the box and regroup and try to compete here with 2 strikes.
The 0-2 for Lavonis. Chased out of the zone, but it looks like it's going to be another drop third strike, no play made. So it'll go down as the 8th K of the day for Lavonis, but it does put a Lion on the base path and still just 1 out on the board.
I don't know how you blame Jimmy Keenan on that. That's just a filthy sweeper right there. It was so far out of the strike zone, had so much movement. He would have had to dive to catch that baseball.
So with 1 runner on, second base runner of the day for the Lions, with the asterisk next to it that it's not on a hit, a walk, a hit by pitch. It's just the drop third strike for the 2nd time. Brings up Zion Williams. Struck out in the 2nd inning, and fans threw that first offering. That one cranked into right field. Diving play. Was it made? Yes, it was. Nice catch out there by Paisano. That's the 2nd out on the board, and first real competitive opportunity for the Demon Deacons, for the Lions rather, today.
That's a great catch by Paisano. Maybe went back on it a little bit, but did a really good job of making the adjustment and securing the out.
And that's a great segue to talking about Paisano, who's into the game. Of course, we mentioned earlier that we saw kind of gingerly Andrew Costello walking after he hit a base hit. So Costello out of the game now. And with the 4-0 lead against a team that you already have run ruled, maybe the right choice for Tom Walter.
Well, we talked about this being a long season. Costello talked his way into staying in. He looked like he was okay, moving around okay, but you get back to the dugout and you let the emotions settle a little bit, and obviously it's the right decision. You just hate it for the kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Hate it for the player.
Defensively, it already paid off. Costello wouldn't have been able to make that play if he was moving like he did after that hit. So Paisano comes in, picks up a web gem along the way, and looks like that will be the end of the day for the talented freshman Costello. You mentioned it, Jim. Just tough start to the season with the injury bug. Runner goes, a swing and a miss by Wattis. Throw down to second. Got him. Pinpoint throw from Jimmy Keenan, and that ends the inning, but we'll see if LMU wants to review.
It's going to be close here. I thought, an initial look, I thought he had him, but.
Slow-mo, and
oh, he might have missed the sweep on the tag. His head might have got in there.
It was on time for sure. A great throw by Keenan, but
The initial when Schaff initially swept the glove, it looked like he might have missed him on that and allowed the left hand to get in there before the body slid into the glove. It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Did challenge.
Take another look here.
Of course, the paramount phrase with these always is if there is conclusive evidence that the tag wasn't made.
You know, right there where they paused the video, did he clip, did he clip the glove? Did he get the glove right there?
And so hard to tell with the glove too, because of course it's skin tight. You don't see if it's gonna flare or rotate or anything.
Yeah, it's hard to say that he didn't, so I just don't see conclusive evidence that they can overturn that call.
This is another look from the backside. I don't know, that's about as close as it gets.
Yeah, again, is it conclusive? That's the argument that those umpires are making.
Giorso stays on second for the time being. If he was able to get it, that would be his 8th stolen base in 9 tries.
They're taking some time with this.
Not sure I could blame them for that. I mean, they've taken multiple looks at it. We're seeing what the umps are seeing right now. And that margin razor thin. So trailing 4-0, waiting on the call. And it's going to stand. So a laser from Jimmy Keenan puts away the Lions here in the top of the 4th as we head to the bottom of the frame here from David F. Couch Ballpark. For the number 16 Wake Forest Demon Deacons, looking for win number 10 in a row, trying to stay undefeated here at home and on track to do so right now as we're in the bottom of the 4th. Jonah Weintraub here with Jim Kerner, and we've been treated to a really nice game for the Demon Deacons so far, maybe as balanced as we've seen them this weekend.
Yeah, especially you're talking about the lineup. Up and down the lineup, the at-bats have been really good from top to bottom, and and that's why we have a 4 spot. They've relied on the long ball a little bit, but still, there's been some other really good swings.
6, 7, 8 due up here in the 7, 8, 9 rather, starting with Ryan Prizano. Prizano into the game for Andrew Costello. Of course, came into the game in the top of the 4th inning and made that nice catch out in right field. Getting his first at-bat of the day, hitting 118 on the season, pair of RBI.
And the Wake Forest depth has been tested all year. They've had some guys in and out of the lineup. They haven't yet fielded a healthy lineup this year. And it just gives guys an opportunity, and it just shows how deep they are to be able to sustain the success that they've had.
That pitch goes low. Very favorable count to lead off for Prizano, who, again, in his junior season here in Winston-Salem, played 19 games as a sophomore, none as a freshman. Went 10 of 38 last year with 7 runs driven in, so very serviceable. As he takes a walk.
Just another good at-bat, especially coming into the game after the injury to Costello, to come in and give yourself a quality at-bat. A walk is a great way to lead off the inning for Wake Forest. And obviously from LMU, we got to, they really have to limit those free passes here if they want to get back in the game.
And for a team that walks as much as Wake Forest, that's the first time they've gotten on the base path via the base on balls today. So here's Blake Schaff, grounded into a double play last time out. Fans threw the first offering from Jonah Johnson. Johnson being tested today with the 2 home runs given up. Wake Forest with 7 hits in total. Bunt laid down by Schaff, nicely down the third base line. Runner gets over to second in time. Schaff thrown out at first. Nice play made to avoid the infield single by the Lions, but it does advance Prizado into scoring position.
Yeah, that's kind of, it wasn't really a sack. He was trying to bunt for a base hit there, and the catcher did just a tremendous job coming out really quick and threw that ball on the run. It was really accurate with the throw. That's an impressive play by the catcher.
Jake Weil with the put out over to Wattis at first base. So 1 down, runner on second for the 9-hole hitter, Austin Hawk, number 9. Flew out his first time around in the second inning. Takes that one high, 88 off the hand of Johnson.
Now the bunt goes down as a sack in the scorebook, but I think Schaff was trying to be, bunt for a base hit right there and catch him off guard.
Came awfully close to that. This one hit over toward the shortstop wall. Throw across the diamond, bounces and gets him in time. That might be one that Tom Walter wants to call for a review on.
That was a close play. Great job by the shortstop. They were playing a pretty extreme shift right there, and he had to range actually to his left to come up and make that play.
And it looks like we are going to get a review on it. So we'll get a second look up here ourselves. Wall all the way into the outfield. One hopper, great throw, but
yeah, he was guarding that 6-hole. He was playing for that rollover hit to the 6-hole, and actually fielded that ball where you typically would be playing shortstop, and made a great play.
There's the look that we need. Is the heel down?
Now I don't think it's if the glove closes. It's if it's the ball is in the pocket of the glove, that counts as the out. It's close right there, really close. I don't think on that shot that we're looking at, I don't think it's quite in the pocket.
But again, just as we were talking about with the last challenge, is it enough? Is it completely conclusive?
Again, I agree. Is it enough to overturn it?
It's much closer than it looked on the field. From our vantage point, I thought that looked like it was safe from our vantage point, but upon the replay, this might be the angle that we need here just to see the timing of the foot.
Yeah. From that angle, it looks like he's out. It's the right call, in my opinion. But again, you can't see where the ball is in relation to the glove. And you can see his foot is not quite down right there. That's a great shot by the camera crew. I would imagine that there's not enough to overturn this call. I'm going out on a limb.
I'm with you, Jim.
Making a guess here.
Also, if you corroborate those 2 angles right there and you know that the heel is not on the green base for the runner. So at first, when you see the foot go down, you're questioning, oh, is the heel down? But the heel was on the dirt the entire time, so you're going to have to go based off the toe for that one.
And the ball's not in the ball's not in the glove right there.
So LMU looking for the second out of the frame. And this one will stand. So Hawk goes down at first. Runner stays on second, and that goes down as a great put out there for Jackson Wall over at short.
It was a great play by Wall, and saw a little bit of Hawk speed getting down the line, and just wasn't quite enough.
So we'll go back to the top of the order here with Javar Williams, who was maybe the distance between, you'd have to say, what, a measuring stick away from a home run his last time up. Got a double nonetheless, so 1 of 2 with that double, and he scored a run off the home run from Cade Lewis immediately after. Breaking ball way low. So with 2 down, runner in scoring position, Javar Williams, and not only the double, but that was a great at-bat, if you recall, was really hanging in there and then ended up crushing that one to right field. Williams flares this one up towards wall at short, goes further into the outfield and is taken care of by the left fielder Gamboa. So a runner gets to second, but no runs come across as we head to the 5th here between Wake Forest and LMU. At David F. Couch Ballpark, through 4 innings of work, 8 strikeouts, no hits, no earned runs, and he has been mowing down Lions all afternoon long.
We've got 47 pitches through 4 and 36 of those being strikes, and that's just about 77% strike rate, and that's as efficient as you can get.
Lavonis making his 3rd start of the season, and after starts against Washington and Siena, where he had a combined 19 strikeouts over 8 innings with just 1 earned run, this somehow may be in contention for his best start yet, which the bar was already very high. Lavonis has struck out 8 batters again here to start off the 5th inning, and one of those batters that he's fanned is Zach Wattis, who was first up to bat. Struck out swinging his first go-around in the 2nd. Wattis was showing signs of laying down the bunt, but pulls back as that's going to be a strike.
And I don't mind that. You know, you're in a situation where you're trying to generate some offense. You've got to try to do anything you can to get on base and disrupt his rhythm.
That one's inside to even the count, but would you say that, do you still agree with that even if it is Wattis? And this is a question for the field, but Wattis had 2 home runs in that last game against Davidson. Just goes to show really how desperate the Lions are to get any sort of action on the base path, that they're sending one of their best power hitters up with a bunt on the first pitch.
Yeah, and I think that's a really valid point, but I think given the score and knowing, hey, 1 home run here is not going to change the complexion of this game. Let's see if we can create some pressure, put some pressure on the defense, and he might have just been taking the pitch and just trying to draw the 3rd baseman in to create some extra space, or just to give Lavonis a different look. There could have been multiple, purposes for what he did.
Wattis on the season, batting sub 100, looking for any sort of contact here as he takes outside, runs full. And Wattis is formerly the number 3 first baseman out of high school in the class of 2023, began his career at TCU, but only played 4 games with the Frogs before transferring to Central Arizona College. And he goes down swinging there. So strikeout number 9 for Chris Lavonis to start off the inning here.
And that one, he got him on the breaking ball right there. That pitch fell off the table.
So 9 strikeouts in all, but 1 of them have been swinging. So just goes to show the variety of pitches as well for Lavonis. He mentioned the breaking ball right there. As up comes Noah Malone. And there it is, dropping right into the zone once again. Just a silly amount of movement.
And that wasn't even his good one. That was the get me over, and it's still pretty good. That was the one. Hey, I just want strike 1. Here comes the nasty one.
Hey, good call. So quickly 0-2 on Malone, who struck out his first time at bat. I have a feeling we're going to be saying that a lot throughout the rest of this game.
He can do so many different things right now with this pitch.
Let's see what he goes with. There's low heat. Throw over to first to finish the job. There it is, strikeout number 10. Just video game stuff from Chris Lavonis.
Yeah, I want to point out the catcher again. Jimmy Keenan is a really high-quality Division I catcher, and he's part of a top 25 baseball program, and it just shows you how good Lavonis' stuff is, because he's having some trouble back there today, and it just shows you Chris Lavonis' stuff is really at its peak right now.
Another swing and a miss, just par for the course for Lavonis as he gets strike 1 on Andrew Moon, who actually didn't strike out his first time up. He flew out. Moon, one of the few batters to make contact with Lavonis this afternoon, but he quickly falls behind 0-2. That looked like it was maybe the changeup there.
Very, very possible.
Lavonis in the second inning struck out the side, looking for his second such inning here today. That one up high. And he's going less with the fastball as this game has gone on.
Yeah, especially this inning, definitely more off speed. And he's got a pitch. He goes left, right, up, down, every direction, which makes it even more difficult.
Another one outside, and there is that fastball at 97. Against Siena, his last time out, the average fastball was 98 miles per hour. So truly MLB level stuff there for Lavonis. Here comes the 2-2 to Moon. The off speed buckles the knees of the batter and makes it strikeout number 11 on the afternoon. Chris Lavonis dicing apart the Lions here at the couch. Twice today for the Demon Deacons, Cade Lewis and Dalton Wentz, each with a big fly to count for 3 of the 4 runs scored on the afternoon for the Demon Deacons. And this is a team with some power potential. Maybe didn't see it throughout the first couple of games of the weekend. We saw home runs here and there, but the big fly really been the main source of runs today for the Demon Deacons.
Well, Lewis and Wentz are 2 guys that you're counting on. Those are the leaders on this offense coming into this season. Your 2 leading hitters from last year, and they're both showing signs of life, especially Wentz. Since probably last weekend at Siena, really coming on.
Wentz and Lewis both due up this inning after Javar Williams flew out to end the 4th. So Lewis will be first up to bat, hit that home run in the 3rd, his last time up. 1 of 2 on the day with the 2-run shot for the very decorated first baseman for the Demon Deacons. Big swing, but just clipped foul. 0-1. Johnson still on the bump for the Lions. Through 4 innings, he's given up 4 earned runs on 7 hits with 1 strikeout and 1 walk. And though the walk numbers are lower than you'd expect for Wake Forest, the strikeout numbers lower for Johnson than you'd expect. So it's kind of evened out there.
And to be successful against this lineup, this Wake Forest lineup as a pitcher, you have to be locating. You have to get ahead. Johnson, when he's gotten in trouble, when he's been behind in the count, and when he's ahead, he's had much more success.
Lewis drills that one down the line, and it's going to be fair. Already has the home run today. He's turning for 2. Bounces off the wall, mishandled by Malone, and it's a standing double. Cade Lewis with his second extra base hit of the afternoon, and he leads off to get in scoring position.
Yeah, they seem to be on the breaking ball. They're doing a really good job with that pitch today. Both hitting at the opposite field and staying on it, for the pull side double here.
That one right on the chalk, or I guess it's turf field here, right on the white turf, but either way, game of inches. Saw it on the home run potentially for Javar Williams. That one right off the yellow tape in the outfield. So Wake working both ways there with the lines. That brings up Dalton Wentz. Takes fastball right down the middle at 90. Wentz 2 for 2 on the afternoon. Had the solo shot in the 1st and then followed it up with a single in the 3rd. That went outside. And Wentz, we highlighted it before the first 2 games yesterday. He was 4 of 8. So adding those 2 hits today, you do the math, 6 of 10 here in this homestand this weekend. That's pretty good, I'd say.
It's a pretty good weekend. That batting average is climbing.
And that pitch is climbing up above the zone. So 2-1 batters count for Wentz is just not what you want to give him in this spot with a runner in scoring position.
No, you don't. And he's such a patient hitter as far as commanding the strike zone. He's waiting for mistakes.
Johnson looks back at second, deals in. This one flared up to center, but it looks like it's going to hang. And that's out number 1 of the inning. Wentz just didn't get all of that one, but he had it eyed up pretty well then.
Yeah, it was a well-located breaking ball, low and away. He just kind of pulled off it just a little bit and flew out to center field.
So that sets up Matt Conti with the runner in scoring position and one down. Conti had that double in the first inning, flew out his second time around in the third. Now with 12 hits on the season, good portion of those coming for extra bases. That one sails outside for Johnson. 3 doubles, a triple, and a home run on the year so far for Conti.
And an over 500 on base percentage. That really stands out. Coming in today, 532 on base.
That's where it goes back to the walks. The team high 12 walks drawn and just 5 strikeouts. Working a 1-1 count here against Johnson, third time facing the righty. That one clipped off the foot. So count moves to 1-2. Again, Wake has struck out just 1 time today. Haven't even been really in that many 2-strike counts to begin with.
And Conti's the toughest player on this team to strike out. His 2-strike approach is so locked in.
Johnson's going to need his A pitch here. The 1-2. And Conti fouls it back. To the surprise of no one really. So we'll do the 1-2 again. Conti makes contact.
That's 3 foul balls with 2 strikes right now. He's still, he's fighting pitches off, still waiting for the one that's up in the zone. Those are all borderline strikes. That breaking ball is at the, probably knee height, a little bit away. And he's just fighting them off until he gets one over the middle that he can handle.
That one up and in, and count evens at 2. But Jonah Johnson, not a strikeout pitcher, but he gets a good amount of them on the year and over his career. He's got 11 in 10 innings so far this season, had 118 in 97 innings at Chandler Gilbert Community College in his first 2 years of college. As another foul ball is clipped right back to the catcher, Lyle.
That's the one that he wants. That was the mistake breaking ball. That ball was elevated. It was almost center cut, and he was just a little bit out front of that.
And of course, the obvious, at a bare minimum, you're also just raising the pitch count with this at bat. Up to 71 now for Johnson. 2-2, we'll do it again. And it's a full count.
Regardless, this is just such a quality at bat. You have 4 2-strike foul balls, and he's already worked this count back full.
Getting the full Matt Conti experience here. 3-2. That one lined, foul. That was awfully close, though.
Just foul.
For a second, it looked like it hopped over the base fair, but either way, it's another foul ball, which Matt Conti is collecting and putting on a shelf in his room somewhere at this point.
Is this the, 10th or 11th pitch of this at-bat now?
It's been a battle between Johnson and Conti, and credit to Johnson staying in there and still throwing his pitches. Another payoff pitch. And what a take. Working all the way back. A handful of foul balls, and Matt Conti gets his free base. That was just a masterclass at presence at the plate.
Yeah, really impressive at bat. What can you say? He's tough to strike out. He's got a great approach, and that's the philosophy of this lineup. They really rarely chase, and they fight with 2 strikes, and they're not afraid to choke up and use the other opposite field. It's not a home run or nothing approach.
And to win in the ACC, as good of a league as it is, and down the stretch, if you're trying to make it into the College World Series, you need to be able to win multiple ways. So it's always a great sign that you can do that with the small ball, the long ball, and everything in between.
Yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely. Being able to score runs in different ways, is a sign of a really well-balanced lineup.
So Jackson Miller, 0 of 1 on the afternoon. Dribbles this one right back towards the pitcher. Wall is charging in, and he's not going to have the play. Bases loaded on an infield single.
Yeah, Jackson Miller will take that. In the box score, when he looks this up later, that's a line drive base hit. So I've never seen anybody complain about infield hits when it comes to stats.
It all looks the same on the batting average.
That's right. And it all evens out eventually. At some point, he's going to hit a missile somewhere, and it's going to be caught.
And it looks like Donegal Fergus may take Johnson out of this game. The entire infield converging at the bump with their starting pitcher, Fergus, heading out, the third-year head coach for the Lions, with the bases loaded and just one down. Pitch count just at 76 now.
I think he's just given his bullpen a little chance to get loose. The lefty just started throwing down there, and I would think that he might get one more batter before he takes him out, depending on the outcome.
The batter will be Jimmy Keenan, who was 0 of 2 on the day, but both of those balls were put in play. And it looks like it's another Johnson in the bullpen for the Lions. It's number 31, Alec Johnson, a sophomore left-handed pitcher out of Washington. Transfer from Wenatchee Valley College, where he was all-league over there, the JUCO ranks. Wake with the bases loaded now for Jimmy Keenan, one down, and already we've seen a grand slam this weekend for the Demon Deacons. Against Loyola Marymount, it was Jackson Miller who's on first, hit a grand slam yesterday in the first inning against the Lions. Can Keenan follow suit? Johnson fires in a 76-mile-per-hour off speed to get the count started, and that's just a nice pitch to get ahead at least 0-1.
What a huge turnaround with bases loaded from early in the season to the last, 2-3 games, really taking advantage of this situation and separating themselves in some games.
Keenan clips that one foul. So quickly 0-2, but as we've seen throughout this game, it's one thing to get Demon Deacon batters to 0-2. It's another thing to pick up that third strike.
And I think when you see numbers like that and you look at the approach of this lineup, it's just a matter of time before some of those are going to start to fall.
The 0-2 for Keenan. That one goes low, and a nice play made behind the dish by Lyle. Kept it in front of him, and again with a bit of a bigger space behind the catcher, that one could have dribbled past him and maybe brought home a run. Johnson trying to keep this game within striking distance. Keenan strikes it down the third base line. That's going to bring run home. The throw across the diamond. Got him in time. So a nice play there by the third baseman, Giorso, but it is a sacrifice hit that gives Wake Forest a 5-0 lead as Cade Lewis trots across home plate.
Yeah, it does the job. Not it's the result that he was looking for, and the fact that they were able to score a run off of it. It's not the swing and the contact that maybe he was hoping for. But I think the point that you're driving home is that, hey, it did score the run, and you're adding on to the lead, and it's all about chipping away and generating offense.
And still, you avoid a double play ball, which is the most important part there. 2 runners in scoring position still, and you give a chance for the next guy in the order, Ryan Praisano, to carry the load. Praisano was walked in his first at-bat of the afternoon after coming in for Andrew Costello. So getting a second look here at Jonah Johnson. 5-0 lead. Wake trying to break this one open here at home. Johnson falls behind 0-2. And in his first 2 starts this season, Johnson just under 10 innings of work, only 10 hits given up and 10 strikeouts with 3 walks, 1 earned run over that time, but today's been a different story for the righty. Needs a pitch to get into the zone here. Can't buy it. But that first base open and bottom of the order coming up here, is this a situation where you think maybe you just play it safe?
I'm letting him swing. Yeah, their approach is so good, and I would trust these hitters so much if I was Coach Walters. If he gets a pitch, I'm letting him swing.
So Prizano, we'll see if he gets the green light here. He does not, and it's a fastball right down Main Street. 3-1 the count. Still Prizano in the driver's seat here. Big swing, tipped foul. We'll do a full count now as it runs full.
See if he goes back to the breaking ball with the base open.
Johnson, this will be pitch 86. From the stretch. And what a take. We've seen multiple of them this inning. First from Conti there, from Prizano, and the bases loaded once again for Blake Schaff.
You know, it still gives you a chance. You know, as far as walks go, that's probably one of your better walks. You had a base open. You don't want to feed him a fastball in that situation where you can do some damage, and you know, it gives yourself a chance to, you know, double play, gets you out of this.
And
or
now,
actually,
now it's
with 2 outs, actually a ground ball away from getting out of this.
Now it looks like that's going to be it for Jonah Johnson. Finish this one in the bottom of the 5th with 2 outs. Wake Forest leads 5-0. Starting pitcher goes 4 2/3, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, but only 1 strikeout after coming into the day with 11 in 10 innings of work. Goes 85 pitches deep and, you know, carries the bulk of the pitches here to start off for the Lions, but not the day that Johnson was looking for, as that brings in another Johnson, this time a left-handed Alec Johnson, sophomore out of Washington. And on the season, this is his 3rd appearance, the 6'1", 196-pounder out of Enumclaw, Washington.
Yeah, Coach Fergus is going to have a different look here with the left-hander. It just seemed like the Wake Forest offense was just on Jonah Johnson all game. He was having a hard time getting some swing and miss, and you know, the Wake Forest batters just did a great job of laying off anything, you know, outside the strike zone, and took advantage of mistakes over the middle.
And a tough spot to come in for Alec Johnson, sophomore. This is his 3rd appearance of the season. Played on the 18th against USC and then on the 24th against UC Santa Barbara. Over those 2 games went about 8 innings with 7 hits, 3 earned runs, and 10 strikeouts to 2 walks. So some good numbers so far as he gets the left matchup with Schaff. That pitch goes through the wickets. Runner coming home, and there's no play there. Easy score for Matt Conti as the lead balloons now. It's a pair of runs in the inning, and 6-0 Demon Deacons on top.
It's almost like he got crossed up, but with the technology now, that's really hard to do.
Conti, good awareness there, wasted no time jetting it for home.
Lyle was definitely handcuffed with that fastball. Not sure if it was a cross-up or just location.
Either way, it's 6-0 now. Demon Deacons can really break this one open with 2 runners in scoring position. 1-0 count for Schaff. Nice pitch on the outer edge of the plate to catch the zone. And you feel like this is a inflection point in this game, Jim. The difference between what could be, you know, potentially maybe something run ruled down the stretch, or LMU at least staying in this and making things competitive in the latter innings.
Yeah, I agree. This is a key out right here, key situation. You can see LMU giving traditional signs with the catcher. You know, they don't have a wristband or or the comm system in the hat.
Schaff had a sacrifice hit his last time up in the 4th inning. 2-1. Tails inside.
So going back to that first pitch, it was definitely a cross-up since they're doing traditional signs, and catcher was expecting something else. And Johnson threw a fastball.
First base is open, so a walk here wouldn't be a killer for Johnson. Still, though, the out much preferred. As there is a walk, runner at third stays. Jackson Miller looked like he was maybe going to take it home for a second, but instead the bases are loaded once again with the bottom of the order. Austin Hawk stepping up, and Hawk still looking for his first hit on the season. Boy, would this be a good time to pick it up.
It's a great situation. This is what we've talked about before, and we showed the stats of what they've done with the bases loaded the last couple games, and have an opportunity to really cash in right here and really separate in this game.
And even though the bases are loaded, it's a bit of a low pressure situation, already up 6-0. Hawk can maybe let loose and try to drill one here. Watches that one sail in for strike number 1. Back-to-back walks issued by the Lions. 3 walks issued this inning after just 1 through the first 4. Hawk takes a swing at that one, but comes up empty.
Yeah, it's a good pitch. Might have been a straight change.
Looked like that one just kind of died over the plate. A nice toss for sure. So a chance for Alec Johnson to get out of the inning with only 2 runs given up, which would, all things considered, be a pretty big win for the Lions here. The 0-2. Grazed foul. Again, doesn't matter who's on the mound for LMU. These Wake batters aren't going to change their approach.
No, that's what makes them so good, Jonah. They don't give away any at-bats. They don't give away any pitches, regardless of the score or the inning. You know, they're always competing.
So we'll run back the 0-2. Lefty on righty. And that one, another gutsy take. From up here, looked like that was about as close to a strike as you could get, right on the inner part of the plate, but no dice there. Thomas Newsom, the home plate umpire, rules it a ball, and it's 1-2. Johnson still in the driver's seat here. And back-to-back balls.
Yeah, ball 1 was close. Wow. Now, he's in charge back there behind the plate, so he's got final say, but it looked pretty good from up here.
I was getting ready to toss it to the bottom of the inning, or the top of the next inning, rather. So it's 2-2. That one sails high, so after a bang-bang ball at the plate to make it 1-2, back-to-back, no doubt outside of the zone pitches, run the count full, and there's nowhere to put any of the runners.
And they will be in motion on this pitch, and you can see the runner on first potentially scoring on a double here. With Schaff's speed, he can certainly score on a double.
Hawk trying to break this one open. And that's up high. Works a walk from down 0-2. The RBI based on balls will score Jackson Miller and make this a 7-0 ball game.
It's another quality at bat from this Wake Forest lineup, and that's another 2-out RBI as well. A walk in that situation with the bases loaded, that's as good as a hit.
And, you know, we mentioned it earlier that maybe the walk numbers weren't as high as we expected through the first 4 innings. Well, that has kind of resorted to, we've leveled out back to the average here. We've reverted to the mean. 4 walks in the inning, 3 straight for the Lions pitching staff. And that was a crucial walk, too, not only because it scored the run, but now the top of the order swings back around. And Jabbar Williams lines that one into the outfield. That's going to score 2. Williams stays at first, and the lead balloons. It's now 9-0 Wake Forest on the RBI single courtesy of Jabbar Williams, his second hit of the afternoon.
Yeah, he was ready to go from the first pitch, and that's been his approach, especially the last 2 games. Really staying inside pitches. Does a great job here driving it through the 6-hole, and when he's on the ball to that side of the field, he is really successful. But he also, on the flip side, as I say that, has the ability to drive a ball to right field like we saw early in the game and just miss a home run.
Things don't get any easier for Alec Johnson here, as there's still 2 runners on, and Cade Lewis, who has really come into his own here after flying out in the first inning, hit that 2-run shot, and then had a double earlier in the 5th. He actually started off the 5th, so we've kind of gone all the way back around in the order here. So Cade Lewis's second trip up into the batter's box this frame. Takes a strike inside, count levels at 1.
You start to think about Chris Lavonis now in the dugout. This is a really long half inning, and how this might affect him coming back out, for the 6th.
You also have to think that if Wake gets a 10th run, though, maybe they try to trot Lavonis out just to ensure that this one has a potential of ending early.
Well, I think he'll definitely come out. It's just, how do you respond as a starting pitcher when you sit for such a long period of time? And, that's a challenge that starters have to go through, or any pitcher really, when your team's scoring runs as Wake Forest is.
Run support there and more today. 5 this inning for the Demon Deacons. Contact made. Lewis pops it foul. So 2 strikes, 2 balls. Another chance for Johnson and LMU to get out of this inning, but damage has already been done and then some. Lewis takes high and inside, count runs full.
I thought that might have grazed him. Runners will be in motion again. And Javar Williams would certainly score from first base on a double.
Absolutely, leads the team with 11 stolen bases on the season. Flies out in center field as well. Payoff pitch for Johnson. And a swing and a miss from Lewis. Nice way to end the inning for the Lions, but Wake puts up a 5 spot here in the bottom of the 5th, take a 9-0 lead into the 6th. Loyola Marymount 9-0. You can see there the 10 hits to none for the Demon Deacons, and that big crooked number in the bottom of the 5th, a 5 spot for Wake Forest to really take control of this ball game.
Yeah, and it was up and down the lineup with great at-bats, great 2-strike approach. Hitters really fighting off some tough pitches, and then drawing some walks too that help ignite the rally.
First pitch strike for Lavonis, who got some extended time in the Wake Forest dugout with that long bottom of the 5th inning, but comes back out and looks like he hasn't rusted at all.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he responds, if the stuff is as sharp. Once you sit for that period of time, does some of that rhythm and momentum that you created, go away?
Has struck out the last 3 batters he's faced as that one sails a bit outside. 93 miles per hour, sitting in that in-between zone. You normally see him with either the off-speed in the high 80s, mid 80s, or that high 90s fastball. And it's 3-1.
Yeah, the pitch count certainly is a concern. It's just the amount of time sitting, and you kind of lose that feel a little bit. And we'll see, if he gets it back, which I would expect he would, or how long it takes him to get it back.
Lyle pops that one foul to run the count full.
And you can see he's lost a little velocity on the fastball, and it might be because he sat for a good 25, 30 minutes there in that half inning.
Lavonis hasn't issued a walk today either, in addition to the high strikeout count. And there's another one. It's a backwards K against Lyle. And the clinic continues for Chris Lavonis.
Yeah, He battled in that at bat, and when I say he battled in the at bat, I'm talking about Lavonis here. He fell behind and used his off speed. The fastball life wasn't quite the same, but threw the quality breaking ball there for strike 3.
So that sends up Travis Friend, who, by the looks of it, yeah, he's the only one who hasn't struck out today among the lineup for the Lions as he takes a strike 1 there. Ducks past an 85-mile-per-hour sweeper. Friend flew out in the 3rd inning, but it's just his second at-bat as he swings through the 0-1 offering.
Well, the off-speed is certainly as sharp as it ever was. There's no change in movement or location on the off-speed pitch.
The 0-2. In there for strike number 3. Another backwards K for Chris Lavonis. He struck out 5 straight batters and now has 13 on the afternoon. Goodness.
The command is just exceptional. Anybody that can throw multiple pitches for strikes at any time that they want, that's elite command.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but the fastball raises the ceiling. That's what the MLB scouts love. They love the velocity and they love the spin rate as well. But that other stuff, being able to win when the fastball is tailing off here in the latter innings, that stuff raises the floor to make him such an elite college pitcher as well.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody's, the phrase spin to win, that's really true. Even at the pro level, you have to be able to spin the baseball, to get hitters out.
Well, he's done that in droves today as a big swing from Jackson Wall comes up empty. Lavonis looking to strike out the side for the 2nd inning in a row. It's 1-1 on Wall, who came into this game after a great day against Davidson earlier in the afternoon. He went 4 of 5 with a double and a home run against Davidson just hours ago, but it's a little bit different going against a guy that is as talented as Chris Lavonis. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. 6 straight strikeouts, and Lavonis is amped up. He strikes out the side for the 2nd inning in a row and takes a 9-0 lead into the bottom of the 6th here at the Couch. Strike out of the side, 14 Ks, 6 innings pitched on 74 tosses for Chris Lavonis. Getting a talk from Tom Walter, some hugs in the bullpen. You wonder if he would come back out if Wake Forest scores a run here, though, Jim, because if they do score a run, it'd be 10-0, and he could close it out in 7 innings in the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, it's rather interesting to get that reaction coming off. You would typically think that they're taking him out, but the pitch count is certainly not a concern at 74 pitches. Anything, you're going to point to the fact that his fastball velocity maybe dropped a little bit, and for whatever reason they have their plan, and they might be sticking to it.
Also, we're a little selfish over here. It's been a joy to watch him throw throughout the entire game. I think everyone here at Couch wants Lavonis to finish this one off if he can, but obviously, as we've mentioned multiple times on the broadcast, it is a long season, and you're going to need him down the stretch for sure.
And I think they're pointing, hey, we have conference play starting next week, and obviously the significance of that is much greater than this moment right here that we all recognize.
So it's Dalton Wentz back up to bat, starting off the inning here against Alec Johnson. Pounds that one over to Wall at short. Steps in to make the throw. It's low, but it gets the job done, and that's one away here in the bottom of the 6th, rather.
And that's been the key for LMU, trying to get that leadoff hitter out. Every time Wake Forest has got the leadoff hitter of the inning on base, it's led to runs.
Wentz has a homer and a single, has grounded out and flown out since. So that sets the table for Matt Conti, who, as a part of that 5 spot in the 5th inning, had just an amazing at-bat where he was able to draw a walk and work double-digit pitches against Jonah Johnson. Now he faces Alec Johnson. Just another close call for the lefty, as it's going to go for a ball 1. Again, Demon Deacons looking for at least 1 run here to set up a top of the 7th where they can clinch the game in run rule fashion. That one dribbled over, back to the pitcher. Barehands it, throw across the diamond, gets past the first baseman, Wattis. Johnson misfires on the throw. Runner's going to go all the way to third. Conti chugging his way, and he'll get there standing.
Showing off his speed there, Jonah.
Yeah, the wheels from Conti, and just can't have that happen if you're LMU at this stage in the game. You need that one run. Conti had the head down, the bare hand. The play was there. He looks like Johnson maybe just rushed that one a tad bit.
Yeah, maybe short hop, you know, the first baseman, just a touch. That's a tough play for a pitcher. It's a bang-bang play. You're picking it up and throwing it almost in one motion, and, you know, unfortunate for LMU right there.
And with how big foul territory plays here at the couch, it's that one, once it got past Wattis at first, it was an instant trip to third base.
And typically, you don't see the infield up in a 9-0 game, but with the 10-run rule in effect, they're going to try to eliminate this 10th run.
Big swing right past the third baseman, Gior, so that'll score. And it's going to be a double, an RBI double for Jackson Miller. Conti comes across home plate, and Wake gets that 10th run, and that hit got past the infield largely in part due to the fact that the infield was playing it.
Yeah, it was hit hard, but when your third baseman's up the way he was, that's an extremely difficult play. And Wake Forest doing another great job of driving in runs with run around third base and in scoring position. It's kind of been their MO all weekend. They've really capitalized in these situations.
So here comes Jimmy Keenan, had a sacrifice fly in his last trip up. Takes strike number one from Johnson. Keenan 0 of 2 on the afternoon. Big swing, but cuts right through it. Count now 0-2.
Yeah, he wasn't cheated on that swing, but, you know, typical Wake Forest right now, I pretty much can guarantee they're going to make adjustments right here. And you could see Jimmy Keenan moving in on the plate and taking away the outside corner just to make it that much harder for him to strike out.
Keenan drills that one in the 6 hole. Miller will hold at third, so the bases, runners on the corners rather. And with just one out, that'll bring up Ryan Prizano for his third at bat. But a nice way to work back from 0-2 there again.
Yeah, just did a good job. It was, you know, kind of a middle cut breaking ball, but Keenan made the 2-strike adjustment. He kind of crowds the plate, and you see a lot of hitters do that where they can just take away that outside pitch, and, you know, makes it a little bit easier to hit.
Any other runs here in the bottom of the 6th, just insurance really for Wake in their hopes of picking up a run rule victory. As there's a meeting on the mound now. And it looks like in the bullpen, Jacob Freed is working for the LMU Lions. Alec Johnson has struggled so far. He hasn't even made it through one full inning of work. Came in relief and got the final out, and then got the first out of this inning. So 2/3 of an inning pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks against 8 batters. Pitch count climbing up to 30 for the lefty. So with runners on the corners, Ryan Prizano steps up to the plate. Has drawn 2 walks this afternoon. Watches that pitch sail in for strike number 1. Prizano, just as most of the Demon Deacons have been, but specifically him, have been very patient today at the plate, especially on those first pitches.
Yeah, it's been a good balance. You know, they know when to be aggressive, they know when to take pitches, and they have a really good idea what they're looking for.
And when you get a reputation of a team that battles and has that good of an eye at the plate and that great of plate discipline, you get those bang-bang calls in your favor a little bit more because they got to know something that we don't. So after falling behind 0-1, back-to-back balls. Prizano drills this one into left field, but it hangs up and falls into the mitt of Gamboa. Runner will come home. So it's a sac fly for Prizano to tack on another run. It's 11-0. Wake Forest extends the lead.
And that's all you need in that situation. The goal is to score runs, and Schaff flies in that situation play out just as much as anything else does. Great at bat, great approach, and does his job.
Jackson Miller scurries across home plate to extend the lead, and Donegal Fergus will step out to meet Alec Johnson. That is the second out, and it looks like Freed is coming in out of the bullpen, so this might be it for Alec Johnson. So the pitching change is going to be made. We'll be right back for the remainder of the 6th inning here from the couch. Out of Kenmore, Washington, graduate student into the game for LMU with 2 down here in the bottom of the 6th. Donegal Fergus opting to go with the righty after 1 inning of work for Alec Johnson of relief. 1 inning, 3 hits, 3 earned, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Freed on the season has had a bit of a rough start, to say the least, has made 2 appearances, and the ERA sitting at 54. So trying to get back on track here with 1 out needed in the bottom of this inning.
I can guarantee you Wake Forest, their approach at the plate's not going to change. All these at-bats matter, and these players are building good habits, and whether you're up 10, down 10, regardless of the score, they want to continue to do what makes them successful.
Freed did play last year at LMU. He's played all 4 years at LMU, in fact. In the era of transfers, that's increasingly rare. The 5th year with the Lions, tosses ball 1 over his LMU career. 8 innings pitched, 18 earned runs, 10 Ks and 8 walks in 13 games with 1 start under his belt. That pitch fired inside, 92 miles per hour. So again, Freed 6'5", good bit of velocity, and has nice extension as well.
Yeah, good looking arm, and obviously there's a projection. You can see pitcher's type body.
Is behind 2-0. Blake Schaff at the plate. Make it 3-0. Keenan over on first.
Looks like a 2-0 changeup right there.
We'll see if Schaff gets the green light here. Does not, but doesn't need it regardless. Keenan advances to second. Another walk for the Lions staff, and those have piled up here in the latter innings.
Yeah, they really have, and it's part of the reason how this game's gotten out of hand a little bit. Just those free bases have led to runs, and then you couple that with a really good Wake Forest at-bats, and it's a bad combination for the LMU pitching staff.
The 6th walk on the afternoon for the Lions, but 5 of those have come in the past 2 innings. So with 2 on, 2 down, Austin Hawk steps up and takes ball number 1. That one another close one. We've seen some of those really, really challenge the plate.
It's hard to get that call, and I think you mentioned it earlier, Jonah. When you're not around the plate a lot, it's tough to get those borderline pitches.
Hawk walked in his last at-bat with the bases loaded, so it was an RBI walk for the 9-hole hitter as he takes a strike right there. Has also grounded out and flown out as well this afternoon. And another close call on the inside edge. Goes to Hawk, though, so he's in front 2-1.
You got to earn the right to get those calls. That's what I've always, preached to pitchers. And, when you're around the plate, you'll get the borderline pitch from time to time.
Swing and a miss to even the count at 2. And as I was saying earlier, I think also with the Wake having a reputation as a team that sees the ball really well at the plate, you almost second guess if you're behind the plate that, hey, if they're not swinging on it when it's that close, maybe they know something.
Sure. Yeah, that's the human element to umpiring and playing, and some of that definitely comes into play.
That one skips past Lyle behind the dish. Both runners advance into scoring position. Count runs full. Top of the order on deck for the Demon Deacons. It's Javar Williams, who has already had a whale of a game with a double and a 2-run single. If you're freed here, you really are just trying to get this one out and limit the damage to 11, at least give yourself a chance to score 2 runs and keep this game going in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, at this point, if you're afraid, you got to throw what you're most confident in. You know, it's not about trying to strike anybody out or tricking a bat or whatever I feel comfortable that I can throw strikes with. That's what we need to rely on.
So another payoff pitch for Freed. 2 in scoring position. Hawk trying to extend the lead as he extends the bat, gets the one out to center field. It'll hang up. Friend underneath it, and that will end the inning. Wake Forest adds 2 more to extend the lead to 11-0 as we head to the 7th here between the Deeks and the Lions. Of the day for the Demon Deacons, and he's done for the day. Chris Lavonis goes 6 innings deep, only throws 74 pitches, and boy, did he absolutely pick apart this Lions batting order. 14 strikeouts, no hits, no earned runs, no walks. Basically perfection from the sophomore, and really maybe the best start of the season by any Demon Deacon.
Might be the best start of the season by anybody in the country. It was just so impressive, so efficient. You know, you talk about the strikeouts, but just the efficiency and the command of every pitch that he had. It was truly an impressive outing.
And that sets up a close opportunity for Ryan Bosch, the freshman. Big guy, to say the least. 6'8" on the mound, a towering presence, freshman out of Muskegon, Michigan.
This is his 5th appearance. They've gone to him on several occasions. This is a live left-handed arm, 93, 95. You know, another one of these, you know, Wake Forest arms with tons of potential.
First pitch in the mid-90s at 93, just off the plate for ball number 1. Bosch, the lefty, was ranked as the number 2 pitcher in the state of Michigan, number 6 player overall in the Mid-State in this past high school class, as he picks up a strike right there. Again, 93 on the outer edge, so locating nicely early in this close opportunity.
Yeah, coming out, throwing strikes, and you know, you pitch with an 11-run lead, you can attack hitters and force contact.
Same exact location for the 3rd pitch in a row, same exact speed of 93. So consistency key early for Bosch as he's on the precipice of a strikeout here against Alex Gamboa, who is 0 of 2 on the day with a strikeout looking and swinging. Did Gamboa go? No. Third base umpire Joseph Blumenauer says that he was able to keep that one close enough, and count moves to 2-2, but a nice pitch there with the 1-2 count from Bosch.
That was really close.
The 2-2 from the lefty. Chipped over, and that's the first hit of the game for the Lions here in the top of the 7th. Demon Deacons were looking for the no-hitter, as the team would have been there first since 2012 against Marshall, but broken up here on a nice hit by Gamboa as he trots on over to first base with no outs.
Yeah, and credit to Gamboa. That's a tough at-bat right there against a pretty quality left-handed pitcher, and he did a great job of staying inside the pitch and breaking up the no-hitter.
It's also the first hit that Bosch has allowed all season. Granted, 4 appearances, only 2 innings of work. It's been mainly spot relieving appearances for Bosch, but that's the first hit he's allowed. On the season, Bosch, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts in those 2 innings with 4 at-bats and 1 hit by pitch as well.
It's important for Bosch to have some composure here. He knew the situation going out there with the no-hitter and everything. So, now that he gave up the hit, he's got to lock back in and do the job and complete this game. Thankfully for him, he has an 11-run cushion to work with. But, of course, if
the Lions can play 2 here in this frame. It would extend the game to the bottom of the 7th. And when you're playing 4 games in 3 days, you'll take as few innings as possible if you can get them.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Jonah. You know, you have the mercy rule in effect here. If they can get out of this inning and save 2 innings of pitching for tomorrow, you know, it just puts them in better shape.
So here's Giorso with a 1-2, down at the ankles. And if you're the Lions, I mean, this is the top of the order. Not the exact top, it's 2, 3, 4 up in this inning, but you just got to be happy to be seeing anyone but Lavonis on the mound at this point.
Right, 93 is like a relief. 93, 94, that's like, wow, I can actually see the baseball coming in now.
But there is a swing and a miss. Bosch stands Giorso to get the first out of the frame. The lefty looked it in. And that one looked like a slider that just kind of tailed off at the last second. Caught Giorso swinging, and now Tom Walter has joined his crew out in the middle of the pitcher's mound. And it looks like we're going to have a pitching change, so we'll tell you who's up for the Demon Deacons after this. We'll be right back from the couch. Harsh out of Montclair, New Jersey, to put the finishing touches on this ball game with 2 outs to get. The righty standing at 6'5", making his first collegiate appearance. Always fun to be here for a freshman getting his first action. Harsh, not just a true freshman, but a very talented one at that, the top overall pitching prospect by perfect game in the state of New Jersey this past high school season. So a very talented young player getting his first crack against LMU here in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see another freshman arm for Wake Forest and see what he brings to the table, and good opportunity for him to get his feet wet right here.
Harsh has registered fastball speed around the mid-90s, so there's that relief potential there as he comes out for his first appearance. Getting to do so at home, too, has always got to be special for the young freshman.
Mid-90s, Jonah, I'm not surprised. Wake having another freshman that's 95, that's unbelievable.
What a luxury for Tom Walter, the rest of this team, and all these fans, right? As his first collegiate pitch, 98, right 98. Down the middle.
We sold him short, 95, 98. And this is his first outing of the year, and Wake Forest is hiding a freshman throwing 98 in the bullpen.
He's going against one of the better batters for the Lions. Quickly 0-2, Zion Williams. Came into the day 10 of 42 with 2 home runs, 3 doubles, 7 runs driven in, but Williams 0 for today, a flyout and a strikeout in his 2 at-bats.
It's crazy to think that you have a freshman, you have a player in your pitching staff, 97, 98, that is yet to pitch this year.
The 0-2. Chopped down the third baseline, throw across is there in time, so that's the first out with Marcelo Harsh on the bump for the Demon Deacons, and it puts 2 away here in the inning. Runner does advance to second.
I didn't get a good look at it, but it was some type of 91-mile-an-hour off speed. I don't know if it was a changeup or maybe a backed up slider. I wasn't sure. I don't know if you had a better look at it, Jonah.
No, I'm not. The velocity was definitely higher than just a typical breaking ball or off speed, so maybe a cutter even.
Possibly, yeah, very possible. 99.
Going against Zach Wattis here, the last hope for the Lions with 2 down. Gamboa standing at second after he advanced on that fielder's choice. Pitch goes low, but again, high 90s for Harsh. And these Lions have got to be saying, come on, we just got the 98 to 100 out of the game. Finally saw mid-90s and right back at you with the high cheese. Wattis takes a crank at that one, but tips it foul right at his own feet.
Wattis with the 2 home runs early today, and definitely a guy that can put one on the ballpark.
The 2-1, and Wattis hammers that one. Yeah, that's his 3rd home run of the day, and more importantly, keeps the Lions in this game. We're going to go at least 1 extra half inning as Wattis hammers that one into the right field bushes to make it an 11-2 ball game.
Well, Harsh will now learn what happens when you fall behind and hang breaking balls in those situations. You have a talented left-hand hitter with some real juice in his bat, and he did with it what he should.
Wattis, 3rd home run of the day, all to that location. Again, started his career at TCU, was a top recruit in the country, went the JUCO route and then came to LMU. So some pop in the bat and definitely some real talent from Wattis as well, showcasing there.
Yeah, he's had a good day today. Very good day. 3 home runs on the day.
Some people don't hit that in a season. Harsh bounces back though with back-to-back fastball strikes right down Main Street against Noah Malone, who was 0 of 2 with 2 strikeouts on the afternoon. Here comes Harsh on the stretch, and Malone taps that one out over the head of Hawk at second, and it's a base hit.
It's a really good piece of hitting. That was a quality pitch. Up, bottom of the zone, maybe even outside the zone, breaking ball.
Had to get low to get there.
Yeah, he stuck his bat out and was able to drop it into center field.
And Malone came into the day 2 of 20, was 2 of 22 on the season before that at bat. The sophomore outfielder out of Glendora, California. Gets on bases. Now there's a meeting between Andrew Moon, the rest of the batting staff for the Lions, and looks like Donegal Fergus is in there as well. But Noah Malone, for as rough of a start as he's had to the season, over the summer he was in the Northwoods League with Wausau, the Woodchucks, and when we're doing research, hit .381 with 14 home runs, 58 RBIs. He was an all-star in that league, one of the premier college summer leagues in the country. So rough start to the season this year with the Lions, but again, that piece of hitting, definitely not just a flash in the pan for Malone as he makes his way to first.
No, not at all. That's a great league. Northwoods League's always been highly competitive, and to hit 14 home runs with wood bat especially, that's a really good summer. And it shows you some of his potential and what they expect out of him this season.
Started 30, played 31, started 21 with the Lions last year as a true freshman. So a pivotal piece for Donegal Fergus's squad going forward is Harsh. Gets a swing and a miss out of Moon on the first offering of this at-bat. In that time to talk with the batter between Donegal Fergus and Moon, maybe that was a nice time for Harsh, too, to kind of recalibrate on the mound.
Yeah, I think so. It gives him a chance to breathe a little bit and recompose himself. And Coach Fergus might be talking strategy or approach or.
The 0-2, high and outside, but again, 97 miles per hour. So despite the pitch count, approaching the teens now for Marcelo Harsh. The velocity not dipping anytime soon. Well, I mean, he hasn't pitched yet this season, so don't expect the velocity to dip too much. That one goes high and inside. And this is a good opportunity for the freshman. You mentioned it, against a team in the WCC that was projected to finish 5th out of 10 teams in that conference, a pretty decent mid-major conference in the college baseball landscape. Teams like St. Mary's and Gonzaga, as this one is pushed foul. But a good opportunity for the freshman, especially at home, to work through some stuff, which is with an 11-point cushion, 11-run cushion, always definitely something that benefits the pitchers in the long run.
Yeah, you never have enough pitching, and for them to create more depth by throwing a freshman right now that hasn't pitched this year with, the quality stuff Harsh has is only going to help them further down in the season.
The 2-2, flared out into right field. Prizano on his horse, and that one sails over the outfield wall. Looked like that one was going to hang up for a little bit, but it's ruled a home run. Andrew Moon cranks that one over. It's the second 2-run shot of the frame for the Lions.
Yeah, kind of stuck his bat out there, and that ball just carried a little bit more than it has been, and was able to poke it over the fence for the home run.
Looked like it was moving in slow motion.
Yeah, really good piece of hitting. You got to give him credit, staying on the pitch and driving it out to right. And
second look there at Moon's first home run of the season. Prizano just had to keep walking and running back, and that one just enough to get over that yellow tape there by the David F. Couch Ballpark sign on the padding out in right field. So 11-4 now. Harsh still in the game to work through these growing pains. Facing off against Jake Lyle now, who is 0-2 on today with a pair of strikeouts, one swinging, one looking.
And give credit to the LMU, roster and coaching staff and team for, battling through and continuing to put together quality at bats.
And this is an LMU team that hasn't shied away from competition either. They've played some decent teams on the season. They've played Tulane, they've played Washington. I believe they played TCU in a one-off as well. So now going against Wake, this will benefit them, this ability to fight down the stretch against some of these power conference teams as they hit WCC season. And Lyle pokes that one right through the first-second gap, gets on base, and it's a fourth consecutive hit for the Lions.
Yeah, Harsh just not finding the right sequence quite yet. Not getting a lot of swing and miss with the fastball, and the breaking ball has been a little bit hittable, and LMU finding holes.
Tom Walter now out of the dugout, and it looks like there's going to be a pitching change made. So the college debut for Marcelo Harsh, not necessarily according to plan, but Wake still up 11-4 with a new arm coming in after this. Appearance, and now it's the first collegiate appearance for Demon Deacons righty Tyler Wood, 6'3" freshman out of Lee's Summit, Missouri, was ranked as the 3rd overall player, number 2 right-hand pitcher in the state of Missouri, coming out of high school this past season. Can throw 94 to 95, has a slider and a changeup as well, and just like Harsh making his collegiate debut here at home against the Lions, lead only 7 though after back-to-back home runs by LMU.
Yeah, Coach Walter using this game as an opportunity to get some young players, some experience, and see what they can do on the mound. And like we just said, a few minutes ago, you can never have enough pitching, and if they can create some more depth, it's only going to help as the season moves on.
So there is the runner on first, Jake Lyle, who singled in Harsh's last at-bat before he was pulled out of this one. So Harsh goes 1/3 of an inning, gives up 4 hits, 3 earned runs for now, although if that run comes across, it would be a 4th against 5 batters faced. But despite that stat line, we did see that Harsh definitely has some ACC level stuff, especially with that fastball.
Yeah, no question. That's a great point as well, that the stuff is there. He's just got to learn how to pitch with it, and I'm sure they're going to get him going, and he'll be a big part of that pitching staff as the season continues and into his career as well.
So here is Travis Friend, 9-hole hitter for the Lions, 0-2 on the day. Watches that pitch sail past his ankles. And what we've seen with the bullpen so far today from Wake Forest is that just not getting out in front of the count. Obviously, when you're comparing it to Chris Lavonis, that's a tall task, but still a lot more of those typical battle counts rather than the 0-1, 0-2s.
Yeah, definitely. And then the off-speed, too, the breaking balls and the sliders, being able to command those and throw those for strikes, and not just strikes, but quality strikes, locating in and out with it.
So 1-1 to Friend. Lyle still resides at first. That one skips across home plate. 92 miles per hour for Wood. Missed the bottom of the order as mentioned. I'd love to get this out here and avoid things from turning over to the top of the lineup. Is that one chopped foul towards the Wake dugout. Count evens at 2 and a chance to get out of this inning without any further damage done.
Yeah, this is the type of count that got Harsh, kind of in some trouble. Can he put away hitters in this situation? Let's see what Wood can do with the same opportunity.
2-2 on the way. The long look in and the low throw. Another count run full. Sun setting here at the couch. A beautiful evening for baseball. Wake Forest up 11-4. Two-run shots here in the frame for the Lions have extended this game at least to the bottom of the 7th. Runner goes. Ball outside. 2 on, 2 down. And another base runner for LMU. Also, that's the first walk of the day issued by any of the pitchers for the Demon Deacons.
Yeah, they've been really good throwing strikes. But this last out of the inning has been tough to come by for Wake Forest.
And it's not going to get any easier now with the top of the order, Jackson Wall, who struck out twice today, but had 4 hits and 5 at-bats with a double and a home run against Davidson hours ago. Takes ball 1 inside. Wall on the season, batting .350, pair of home runs, slugging .700, and looks like that's going to be a visit from Eric Neeson, the pitching coach for Wake Forest now. So, coach meeting with his young freshman. Again, second Demon Deacon today, second Demon Deacon in this inning to get their first collegiate run.
Yeah, you're dealing with some nerves. It's a freshman, in a situation that there's some traffic on base, and you're coming in a situation where you got to limit some damage, and you can see he's trying to slow him down and just allowing him some time to get some composure.
Yeah, it's on paper a low leverage situation, but when you take into account the situation of being your first collegiate start, having runners on base, it feels a bit more high leverage than that despite the 7-run margin.
For the pitcher on the mound in his first outing, there's no question that he's amped up, and he doesn't view this as a 7-run lead. He views this as an opportunity to show the coaching staff what he can do.
That one sails outside at 93 off the right hand of Wood. Lyle and Friend aboard for the Lions. In there at 92. That's a nice pitch. Don't want to go down 3-0 against the top of the order with 2 on.
No, absolutely. And, again, situation where you want to throw something that you're confident in and, force contact here.
That one in there as well. Back-to-back fastballs. Tyler Wood works himself back into a 2-2 count. Chance to send us to the bottom of the 7th here. And Jackson Wall will take a timeout. Wall, the graduate student out of San Jose, steps back into the batter's box. And a ball out of the hand from Wood runs the count full once again.
Runners will be on the move.
After 4 hits earlier today, Wall looking for his first of this contest. Went 2 of 3 against the Demon Deacons yesterday. Payoff pitch. Just outside. Bases loaded. And this is, you're not hitting the panic button yet, but 4 runs on the board. Few more of these come across you. For Tom Walton, you might have to go to a traditional bullpen arm.
Well, it looks like we're going to have another move here.
So we'll take another step aside as another pitching change is made. Wake Forest up 11-4, but the base is loaded for the Lions. His first appearance of the season, but a 5-year player for the Demon Deacons out of Mars, Pennsylvania. Hasn't stepped up to the mound this season, but the seniority, probably what Walter is looking for more than anything after a trio of freshman pitchers here in this inning allow 4 runs and load the bases for the Lions.
You know, I think when you're dealing too with a 4-game weekend, which is, not your typical weekend, you're trying to find some depth in your bullpen and give guys some opportunities. And obviously, Ray has an opportunity, get back in the mix here and with his first appearance.
Ray, last season out of the bullpen, made 7 appearances in his senior year with 7.1 scoreless innings and struck out 14. Only allowed 3 hits, so very good numbers that year. And then 2024, 33 bullpen appearances where he threw 44 innings with 37 strikeouts. So veteran pitcher into the game. Looking for a little bit of stability here are the Demon Deacons as they've seen their 11-0 lead cut into as it's now 11-4. First batter Ray will face is chopped over to first. And the play is made, so Gamboa is out, and 1 pitch is all the Demon Deacons need, but still this game extends to the bottom of the 7th. Wake Forest will try to finish it with 3 runs of their own. Where LMU uses a 4 spot in the top of the 7th to pull within 7 of Wake Forest. Crooked number for the Lions. Now the Demon Deacons, if they want to end this game here in the bottom half of the 7th, will need 3 runs of their own, and they're facing a new pitcher now, number 3, Dylan Singh, a graduate lefty out of Culver City, California. 6 relief appearances last season, 5'9", 170. Getting his first look at the Demon Deacons this weekend, trying to keep LMU within striking distance.
Yeah, matchup lefty here. We have top of the lineup for Wake Forest, 2 left-handed hitters, and then the switch hitter in Wentz. So it's an opportunity for him, to give them a different look. And with the lefty up, I think this is a great opportunity for Williams to push a bunt past the pitcher. Typically with the lefty, falls off the mound towards third base. This goes towards the first base side. You can see how deep the first baseman's playing. I think it's a prime opportunity for him to put a bunt down here.
Singh, this is his first season with LMU, and on cue, Williams shows a bunt, but the pitch sails outside, so he'll pull back at the last second.
It moved the first baseman a little bit, but not much. It's still open for him. I'm not sure if he'll double up, but it's still there if he wants it.
Singh throws low. The lefty. This is his 4th school that he stopped at. Started at San Jose State back in 2021, then spent 2 years at Saddleback College, went to Cal State Dominguez Hills from 24 to 25, and now finds his way to LMU with the Lions. Last stop at CSDH. Appeared in 6 games of relief out of the bullpen. 4 2/3, 5 strikeouts. So plenty of tread left on his tires. Quickly 3-0, he's behind. And we mentioned it before, Williams, not the guy you want to put on with no outs and no on.
Yeah, good take right there. I would imagine, Williams doing anything he can right now to, get on base and hopefully ignite a rally for Wake Forest.
Williams swings through the 3-1. Nice pitch there by Singh at just 75 miles per hour. This is his 3rd appearance of this season. Has tossed 1 2/3 with 1 earned run, 1 strikeout, 1 walk in games against UC Santa Barbara and Tulane. Now a payoff pitch for the graduate. Outside, Williams with a leadoff walk. And that is a bad omen for the Lions, getting Williams on the base path with plenty of room to run.
Yeah, it was a good at-bat for Williams, drawing the leadoff walk. And, got ahead in the count 3-0 and a couple of quality pitches, but ultimately was able to take ball 4.
The lefty can look right back down at Williams, which is a benefit, as he throws in strike number 1 to Cade Lewis. Lewis struck out his last time up. Went up to bat twice in the 5th inning as a part of that big frame. Had a double and struck out as that pitch way outside.
A pitch out, kind of a modified pitch out right there. Williams typically tries to run early in counts, and not a bad idea. Pitching out, trying to catch him there.
Demon Deacons came into the day with 22 stolen bases, 11 of them courtesy of the man standing on first right now. Doesn't go as that one sails out of the batter's box again. And you wonder if part of this is not only trying to limit the running from Williams, but with Cade Lewis, just, you know, the most seasoned hitter for this Wake Forest lineup, maybe just trying to play it a little bit safe with him. Another one sails out.
Falling behind again here, and that's what happens when you have a runner like Williams. You get somebody that steals bases, it can draw your attention and make it tough to pitch.
Didn't look tough there, though. An 85-mile-per-hour pitch right down Main Street brings us to the second full count in as many batters this inning. Long look in at first. Payoff pitch. And a nice job holding up on that one. Cade Lewis draws a walk, and now that's 2 on with no down for Dalton Wentz, who has already homered today.
Yeah, great job laying off that 3-2 slider. And he's been breaking ball heavy with the left-handed hitters. And now that Wentz is going to come up right-handed, see if he changes his approach here as a pitcher.
And you have to think that that was a failure on the mission of Donegal Fergus right there. Wanted to get the lefty in to get those 2 lefty batters with the disadvantage. They both walked to get on base, and now you face the meat of the order with Wentz, who is the most powerful righty hitter on this team. We'll see what he can do here. Take slow, and again, we've touched on it all day. We'll touch on it all season. The beauty of batters like Wentz and this entire team is that they're not swinging out of their shoes in this situation when they can walk it off right here.
Yeah, and I think the approach, it just doesn't change. You know, regardless of the score, they're still looking to have good at-bats and get good pitches to hit. And, you know, they're not approaching it like, hey, I need to be a hero right here. I just need to be another piece in the machine, you know, to keep the lineup moving.
You can see there the numbers for Wentz, the power hitting. As he was looking for a big swing there, comes up empty as the count moves to 2-1. Wentz, 54 starts as a freshman, was a Baseball America / Perfect Game first team freshman All-American last season. Looks like he's taken a step forward somehow this year as he pounds that one down the third base line, and it's fair. Williams circles home. Lewis heading to third. Is he going to be sent home? No, but it's a RBI double that puts 2 in scoring position, and now the game-winning run is standing on second base.
Wentz just continues his hot streak, you know, being extremely productive the last 6 games. Another RBI for him on what looked like a slider that kind of caught the inside corner. He was able to stay inside it, keep that ball fair, and give himself an RBI double.
He's now 7 of 12 on the weekend with 2 doubles, a home run. Had 4 RBI over the first 2 games this weekend, at his second RBI, so 6 runs driven in, and a pitching change is going to be made. Dylan Singh comes out of the game. LMU will go with a new arm after this. Wake Forest trying to walk it off in the bottom of 7. It's off the inning by giving up a pair of walks and a 1-run double. LMU going with Tanner Warady out of the bullpen, the senior from Trabuco Canyon, California. Has made 2 appearances this season for the Lions. 3 innings of work, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. And there you see his numbers from last season where he made 16 appearances for LMU. Warady got a couple of starts in those with 3 under his belt last season as well.
He comes into a tough situation, no outs, runners on second and third. And with the run rule in effect, these are big at bats for Wake Forest, and LMU wants to continue playing and see if they can get back in the game a little bit more and keep building, towards conference play. These are important innings and important at bats for them, and all the experience they can get, the better.
So 2 runners in scoring position, Lewis and Wentz. That brings up Matt Conti, who doubled his first time around, has been walked as well. Takes ball 1 high and on the hands.
Yeah, just missed.
Game-winning run standing on second base in the form of Dalton Wentz. Conti flies that one into right field, back along the warning track to the fence. And that one is out of here. What a way to end this game for the Demon Deacons. Matt Conti blasts one into right field to give Wake Forest the 15-4 victory as they tame the Lions for the second time in as many days and move to 3-0 on the weekend, win their 10th game in a row.
Yeah, Conti was the guy they wanted up in that situation. He's such an impressive approach, and for him to hit the walk-off home runs, no mistake. Yeah, I don't think we can discount the effort that Chris Lavonis had today, and I think that's really the story of the game. He was as efficient and as dominant as you're going to see from a Division I college pitcher.
Second look at that home run. Conti knew it off the bat, really, as he picks up his second big fly of the season to hand Wake Forest the 15-4 victory. And what a start to the weekend it's been for the Demon Deacons. 2-run rule wins against the Lions, that win against Davidson, and they'll face the Wildcats again tomorrow at 2:30. Should be a good one between the Cats and the Demon Deacons as they take their 10th game in a row. Wake Forest, 16th in the country, stays undefeated at home for now. And now for Jim Kerner. And for Jim Kerner, I'm Jonah Weintraub saying so long, and thanks for tuning in to tonight's coverage of Wake Forest and LMU here at The Couch.